and we are live again. I forget how to do this. Okay, I am going to invite. Da, 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 da. Hi everyone. Da, 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 da.
Hello.
Hi Lorraine, how are
I'm
you?
so good. How are you?
I'm good. So you're at a crystal shop right now. Can we get like a quick little spin around tour? What do we got
You
going on here?
totally. I mean, crystals are
Oh
beautiful
gosh,
in
it's
Laguna
so
Beach.
beautiful. In Laguna Beach, that's where you
Yeah,
are now.
I
Amazing.
am.
Amazing. So welcome. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Me too. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah, yeah. I've always really, I feel like you're someone I really clicked with immediately. It was like, I kind of like felt like I knew you for like a long time. Even I was like, oh yeah, right, you.
Same, same. I think we saw each other first on Instagram before we actually met in real life.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh, this chick looks cool. And then I met you and we just like vibed immediately. So love that. Yeah, so I'd love to hear, like, really briefly, anything you want to share about your, spiritual awakening story, maybe like how that brought you to the mystery school. For example, you're a healer, teacher, and guide, correct,
Yeah.
with the mystery school. Yeah. So I'd love to hear a little bit of that story, just so our viewers can get kind of a taste of who you are.
Oh, 100%. Madison, my story started a long time ago. So how I found the mystery school is a little bit different. I was trying to get over some old emotional stuff and, dealing with being quite sick as a child. So I wanted to feel good in myself. So I actually took a communications class at Orange Coast College when I was 20 years old. And my professor, Barbara Bullard, who is the mother of Ipsis Miss Teresa Bullard,
Oh,
was teaching the communications class. Yeah.
oh my gosh, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so she was, I always say that Barbara was my first great teacher because she has a real gift with young people. Those 18, 19, all the way to about 25, 26 is really where she focuses in on. And the rapport that she builds and the trust that she has of her students. And then she started to talk about the mystery school. And I was like, the mystery school, I don't even know what that is. But then I met people who were initiates in the mystery school, and I knew that there was something different about them.
Mm.
That, they were okay with whatever happened in life, and I was not okay. But I knew I knew I wanted to be like them. So I just went ahead and I wanted to find out, how can I be a part of the mystery school? I was asking all the wrong people because, I needed to ask a guide how
Right.
to be a part of the mystery
Yeah,
school.
so geez, yeah.
And then as soon as I got my life activation, somebody said, well, why don't you take this 2-day class? It was called the Adept Initiation at that point, or the Adept Program. And my only question was, well, is this going to make me part of the mystery school? And she said, yes. And I was like, yes, sign me up. I counted down the weeks to, go ahead and take the class. And it changed my life from
Wow.
that point.
Yeah. 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 And I just want to let our viewers know, we mentioned Sovereign, or excuse me, Obsessiveness Divina Teresa, who is the host of a program on Gaia TV, and I think it's now on Amazon, Mystery Teachings. She's one of the master Kabbalah teachers in the mystery school, and she's also started her own program, Quantum Minds TV, and she does some, like, even I, like, having studied in the mystery school for like a decade, watch a lot of her stuff, and my mind is blown open, having been her student already many times. So there's some incredible teachings that she has available, so definitely check that out, Quantum Minds TV. Teresa Bullard Wyke, incredible stuff. So yeah, so you got initiated into the mystery school. And then what happened?
I always thought that when I was young, I lived in a lot of fantasy world. I lived a lot in my head. And I always had this thought that maybe one day I would move to London and build my life. But I told myself, this is just a dream. It's never actually going to happen. But then when I was initiated, something changed, Madison. Like I knew that I could actually make it a reality. And just how things changed over the next couple of months is I met somebody who had done it and told me about the visa program I could go ahead and join. And then I moved across the world. Like 4 months later, at 21 years old, with something like $700 and a bag and nowhere to live. And I stayed there for about 13 years.
Wow. You really built a life there.
I did.
Yeah. And then you ended up sort of finding your way back to the mystery school. What kind of like drew you back to, because I had a similar journey where I kind of like I did life activation, initiation, Kabbalah, and then was kind of like, okay, that was weird. Bye. But like something eventually drew me back. What sort of like drew you back to, did you try other, were you on sort of like trying other sort of like spiritual self-development stuff at that time? Or what drew you back to continue working with the mystery school?
A little bit, because, I got initiated at 20, and then I was in London at 21. So I was very inexperienced with life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I became a Reiki master while I was over in London. It wasn't the same. It was still cool, but it wasn't the same. And I have to say, Madison, even though I was out there, I was learning about myself and like the physical part of me. So I bouncing off the walls a little bit. I love to go out. I loved clubs. I love to go out and meet people. And I was a bit of a party animal.
Kind of what the early 20s are sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Having those experiences.
But I missed my rituals. I missed the mystery school. I missed the magic. And even if I was, out and working, and my mind would, I guess you can even say it was my heart, would just be missing the magic that is the mystery school.
Yeah.
So after a couple of years, I got back in touch, and then, I've been it's been a big part of my life ever since.
Yeah. I love the sort of like thread that you're drawing right now with like, as a child living in this fantasy, like sort of fantasy world, which all children do, right? This is the world of imagination, right? And having this fantasy of moving to London, right? And living in California girl wants to go to London, living this like royal life in Europe. And then missing that magical aspect of life that I often talk to clients a lot about is like, there is a magic, wonder, there is an awe, there's that je ne sais quoi of life that people really lose, even though they check off all the boxes, even though they might be really successful, or they do things that they love. I was listening to a podcast with Rainn Wilson talking about how, he was like living his dream and still waking up in the middle of the night with like panic attacks. And it's like, I'm doing everything I want to be doing. And I think that there's that like fulfillment piece, that soulful spiritual piece that people really miss in life, that draws them back of like, you can do all the things in a physical sense, in a physical realm, but if you don't have that soul spirit fulfillment, if your spirit isn't progressing, it feels empty. It doesn't feel like much.
Exactly.
And that's something the mystery provides, right? It's that spiritual development. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how we're set up in life. At least I'm speaking from personal experience, that a lot of it was based on, education, that I needed to go get a college degree, that I was going to go into work. And my life was very planned out of what I was supposed to do to be successful.
Right.
And the people who told me this, they all had the best of intentions because they wanted me to be successful.
Yeah.
But in reality, even when I threw myself into work, or even when I threw myself into, just material goods, there is so much more of us than just the physical. And oftentimes when our lives are set up in a certain way, that spiritual fulfillment aspect is not thought of at all, or even as important. So that is something that yearning, that drawing me back to the mystery school and a very rich spiritual life is always there. And I don't know if you ever felt the same.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what drew me to the mystery school in the first place, is I actually went through a physical illness. And then I got better physically, but something still felt really broken within me. And I wasn't I wasn't a spiritual person at all, but and I had been in and out of therapy like most of my life, but I was like, no, something else is really broken here. And it felt good to do like things like yoga. Like I got really into doing yoga because that gave me like that slowness of mind. But still, I would like go back to my life, and it was like, how come I can't just live on my yoga mat, you know? And that's something that it took a while to sort of like really fully integrate. Like I said, it wasn't until I kind of like had my experience with the mystery school and then went out and did a bunch of other stuff and was like, because I was like, oh, I did this big spiritual thing. Maybe I should like buy a crystal. And I also, got Reiki, Chicken and Reiki certified, and still was like, yeah, this is good. But like, there's something else. Like there's something more that I feel like could be fulfilling more of what I'm seeking. And again, like, you mentioned the rituals that are handed down in the Empower Thyself program. Like, it's so great because it's you doing it. It's not you having to go to a class, go to a retreat, go to a seminar. Like, it's you get to very effectively, powerfully, and quickly have this energy shift within yourself that you can do every day, that really brings you into alignment, really brings you into that know thyself, and gives you huge spiritual protection. So it's different. It's different from a lot of the other spiritual stuff that's out there. And not to say that it's better or worse. There's obviously many ways to climb a mountain, but this has been a way that I've found to be really empowering, really effective. Yeah. So I also wanted to bring back when we were talking about our journeys, you were talking about how, there's sort of like these milestones for life of like, yeah, you like graduate school, you get a job, you're supposed to like, find a partner, get married, these milestones that we hit. That's kind of like everyone's almost imagining like we're all sort of like on this conveyor belt, moving through. That's a lot what school feels like, at least anyway, or like, climbing the corporate ladder. You're kind of like on this conveyor belt, but also swimming upstream, right? You have to like progress, move forward, and there's always the next thing, and you always have to, and it's exhausting. And then the spiritual awakening to me feels a lot about like all of a sudden like popping your head like up out of that water, up out of that conveyor belt, and being like, where are we actually going? Does anybody know? Like, does anyone know what's actually going on here? And in that process of like popping your head out is when people start asking those questions like, yeah, what are we doing here? Like, do I have a purpose? And if I do, like, what is it? Is there a higher power? Is there sort of like a system or framework to all of that? And the big thing that happens, like, what people have to make, and we talked about this with Suyapa last week, was like choice, that it's like you have to like make a choice that like where you are now might be good in some respects, but that you want more, that there's something else, that you desire more. And that choice to change, to receive something else, is often uncomfortable,
Exactly. Because we at least what you said earlier, that you're hitting these milestones, and that choice, it just made me think, while I was climbing up the corporate ladder, I had to actually put on different masks and fit into a box, a corporate box of, being professional is great, but it is, you do have to change yourself in order to be able to fit into a certain standard that is set there for you. And that, walking along that, career progression, how I didn't actually know myself. I had coping mechanisms. I had ways I knew I was supposed to be. And what was so powerful about coming back to a very rich spiritual life, well, I was given the tools to be able to unblock what I had stopped, of the true essence of me, what I had stopped myself from exploring and knowing, because I had all of these masks of what I was supposed to be. But I was also given the tools to ask myself the right sort of questions. or like, who am I really? What is my individuality really? And then the mystery school does give you those tools to be able to go very, very deep, because your individuality, which, you know, you might have compressed in order to cope with life, and at least I did, started to really unveil itself. And I got to know myself at a different level. And that is a different sort of love story, when you get to know yourself and who you truly are, because it is really beautiful. I've had people talk to me and say, oh, I'm a bit scared. It's like, well, you know, I've gotten to the other side. There's a lot of people who have. So
Yeah.
it's scary, I promise.
Yeah, yeah. The unknown is scary, and we get very comfortable in what we've been told. Like, oh, if I just do this, this, and this, I'll have that, you know? But it takes, again, like a certain amount of life experience to be like, that's not necessarily true, you know? And if I am actually going to create a life that, like, I'm excited to live and not feel like I'm a cog, you know, a cog in the machine, not feel like I'm just another brick in the wall. I'm not just another like peg on that conveyor belt. It requires a huge level of bravery to hit that unknown, to hit that unknown and decide that you want to know what's possible. And that's how we develop faith, right? Is we like take that step, you know, we would step what, you know, off what metaphorically feels like, oh my God, I'm about to step off the cliff. Like either I'm going to fly or I'm going to fall.
Mhm.
And you fly. Oh, okay. And then you see another cliff and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go off into that. And the more you do that, the more you challenge yourself and prove to yourself that like you are all that you need. You are all powerful. Everything that you need is within you. That's how you start to develop the faith in yourself. You know, and that momentum really begins to pick up to move yourself forward. Um, but it's always stepping out of that comfort zone. You know, if you're like super comfortable in your life and you're never facing any fears and you're never like doing something that you're like, oh my God, this could go really bad. I recently bought a bracelet. It's like so cliche, but I love it so much. It says, what if I fall? Oh my darling, but what if you fly? And I'm like, I think that's such an important thing to come back to, because we have to push outside our comfort zone bounds in order to grow and change and fulfill that desire to evolve. Because we do, I mean, just about everybody I know wants in some way to be a better person.
Exactly.
Most people are like, no, I just want to, I mean, maybe there are some people like that, not a lot of people that I know. And that's fine. Like everyone's on their own journey, and I'm not here to judge, but most people want a better life, want to, you know, to improve and become better and smarter, faster, stronger, whatever that is, more at peace. And that requires stepping out of the comfort zone. So I'm so glad that you stepped out of your comfort zone, Lorraine, many times.
Yes. I'm more comfortable out of the comfort zone than in it. So
Ooh, isn't
wait,
that annoying?
because I've done it many times.
Yeah, except when I'm not. But that's one thing I can guarantee on a path of progression within the mystery school anyway, is that you will be pushed out of your comfort zone. And then you will have the choice, how do I wish to respond?
Exactly.
You know, how do I want to grow? So, so yeah, I'm really thankful that you pushed outside your comfort zone many times to be in a place now, back in California.
Yeah.
So you're serving as a healer and a guide in California now, yes? Laguna Beach?
Yes, I am. I am. So I'm in South Orange County, back where I grew up. So it's serving the community I grew up in,
Mm.
which has been such a blessing.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same experience of like coming back home to my like original hometown. It has this cool like back to roots,
Hmm.
back to thing. Some people go off to many other different places, but like I said, everyone's journey is unique. And I love that, and I love that. So we can follow. This is your Instagram page, yes? This euphoric life, which it is. I love that name. Do you have like a website or anything else? How can people contact you?
Yes, so my website is the same name, thiseuphoriclife.com. And I'm on my DMs, email, phone. It's all linked in my bio, so I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Amazing. Amazing. Thanks so much for chatting with me, Lorraine. I love this like face-to-face that we
Me?
get. Yeah.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you for setting this up. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's super fun. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
100%. I can't wait.
Enjoy those crystals. Give them all the love and get all the good love from them too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm very lucky to be here. It's a beautiful spot. But thank you so much for having me on.
So welcome. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you. Bye.